Our professional this week is Natalie Sauti. Natalie is a young lady from South Africa who is a professional nurse in the private sector. Natalie shares her career journey and how she accidentally ended up in nursing. She gives us insights into a career in nursing, the different streams that you can follow, the subjects she chose, and why nursing is her passion. Her advice to young people is to do research, but to ultimately follow your gut feel. Do what feels right to you. She advises young people to allow their interests to guide them in choosing the right career for them. If you like this video, remember to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on our amazing series. Remember to share with your friends, as this could be helpful to them as well.
Hello everyone, Molweni. My name is Natalie Sauti and I am from the humble Eastern Cape, born and raised in a very small town called Ekonce, or formerly known as King Williamstown. We are a town that is about 45 minutes away from the very popular coastal town called East London or Emonti. I am currently now working and residing in Johannesburg, and I am 27 years old, and I professionally am called a professional nurse in a primary healthcare setting, and I have now been practicing for 3 years. So I feel as though I was exposed to nursing accidentally. So I was in grade 10, this was 2012. My life orientation teacher gave us an assignment where we would have to shadow someone for a couple of days during our June holidays in whatever career that you felt you wanted to do in the future. So I attended my local hospital called Grey Hospital. And as luck would have it, they didn't have a pediatrician because I was very much interested in becoming a pediatrician. And so the next best thing was to shadow a pediatric nurse. So I shadowed the nurse for about a day. And the rest of the days where I was shadowing, I was now moved to another department called the General Outpatients Department. So I worked with the nurses there, and it was mainly administration work. So by the time my shadowing was done, I wrote my assignment, I handed it in, but I definitely was not impressed. I did not want to become a nurse because I was so determined that I was going to become a pediatrician, I was going to become a doctor. So that's basically my very accidental way of being exposed to nursing. So I attended high school in East London, in an all-girls school called Clarendon High School for Girls. And the combination of the subjects that I chose were all geared or aimed towards trying to get into the health science faculty. I chose to do Afrikaans, first additional language, English home language. I did life sciences, physical sciences, life orientation, and I also did pure maths. However, with pure maths, I did it until the end of grade 11, and then I dropped it and went to maths literacy at the beginning of matric, only because honestly was not doing too well between maths and physics. And so I chose to drop maths. And the reason at that time it was allowed for me to do maths literacy and physics was because we were the first group to study under the new syllabus called CAPS. So they allowed that. And so as a result, I actually was able, to enter into the health faculty with maths literacy, as long as I had life sciences and physics to back it up. So by the end of matric, when I matriculated, my top 3 best marks were life orientation, so shout out to life orientation, and maths literacy as well as business studies. And I can say and confidently say that life sciences and physical sciences did help me a lot when I got to university, because it was then, there were both modules I had to do in my first year in university. So as a result, I actually found life sciences and physical sciences pretty easy when I got to university compared to matric. So after being rejected by majority of all the universities because I had dropped pure maths, and I eventually was accepted by Nelson Mandela University in Port Elizabeth for the nursing extended program. So the actual degree itself it takes about 4 years. However, because I joined the nursing extended program, which is a program that is made for any student that has just missed the APS score for the mainstream. So you do one extra or additional year where you are basically building the foundation phase, let me say, before you enter into the mainstream. So I started in February 2015 and I graduated in record time by April 2020. My family had to fund me for the first year, and then in my second year, then I got NSFAS bursary, and then they paid out for the rest of my studies. And so the actual course itself, the degree, it's pretty intense because it is an honors degree, because in your final year you do research. It's pretty extensive, it's pretty complicated, it is still a science. And I think that's one misconception that people forget about nursing, that it is very much a science. And 50% of it is practical work and 50% of it is theory. You really have to continuously remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing. And for me, I remember having that light bulb moment where I knew that this is something I definitely want to do, because it was not my first choice. However, it definitely grew on me. I could tell that I am starting to love and I'm starting to really enjoy what I do. And I kept on reminding myself what are the parts that I love about nursing, because you have to, go in it for the right reasons. So after you graduate from your nursing degree or your nursing diploma, the government places you in a public facility, whether it's a clinic or a hospital, for 1 year. And so this is called ComServe. So for ComServe, I was placed in the Eastern Cape in a rural area called Sterkspruit, which is very close to the border of Lesotho. So I worked there and I completed my ComServe year, and then I stayed for another year as I worked as a permanent professional nurse in the clinic area. And then I now am currently working for Dischem, still as a clinic practitioner. So a typical day for me starts at about 5:30, where I wake up by first praying and working out, and then followed by getting ready for work. And then I leave the house by 7:30 so that I can get to my dispensary manager. He and I sort out my stock, or we go over whatever stock I need either for the day or for the week. And so I collect that with me, and then from my dispensary manager, I move over to my clinic. First thing I do, I clean the area, make sure that everything is nice and neat and everything is sorted. And then I open up the desktop where I will be checking out the emails if there's anything I need to respond to. I will also then have a look at the diary with my receptionist, and we will check out how many patients or how many clients we'll be having during the day. And then I start to consult, or I start having consultations from 9 a.m. all the way until 4:30. What this basically entails is I work as the only nurse. So you work as an independent practitioner, and therefore that means that you have your daily clients that come about, that come for different ailments. So as a nurse, our scope of practices covers quite a bit. So we are able to cover minor ailments like your flus, your fevers, and then we can do things such as pap smears, and we're also able to do antenatal consultations, as well as do pathology consultations and your chronic treatments such as diabetes, hypertension,
HIV and TB.
And then from 4:30, I will pick up all the stock that I have for the day, balance it out as well. Once again, make sure that my office is clean. And then I will make my way back to my dispensary manager at the pharmacy, then unpack the stock, and then I clock out by 5:00. So is my profession, what I thought it would be? That's a yes or no. What I do like about this profession is, number one, you can find it anywhere in the world. There's no country that does not need a nurse. And if you ever want to work somewhere, work abroad, work on boat cruises and ships and all these other places, there are so many opportunities available when it comes to nursing. And I truly appreciate that because it does give you a sense of security. And what I do like is the diversity in the type of specializations that you can do. So you can become a lecturer, you can become a forensic nurse, you can work in pathology, you can work in the labs, you can work, and specialize in all the different fields that are in the hospitals. There's so much that you can do with nursing. You don't have to be a floor nurse. However, if there's something that I would pick out that I don't like about nursing is how undervalued it is as a profession, and how over the years it's as if the respect or the dignity that comes with being a nurse has really, gone down, and people don't see it as an honorable or noble profession anymore. Just to give you a glimpse of, our monetary compensation. So when you enter into ComServe, you are going to be looking at around about 21,000, 22,000 Rand for that year of ComServe. I remember with my first paycheck, I did not know what to necessarily do with it because it was COVID. So it literally sat there. I got groceries. I sent money to my sister. But I didn't really do much with it because we were on level 5 lockdown when we first got paid. But after your ComServe year, the amount does decrease by about 5,000 Rand or 4,000 Rand. So now from 21,000, 22,000, you will now be receiving either 17,000 or 18,000 per month due to all the different deductions that come about, right, from your paycheck. So it is a little bit rough in the beginning, having now to once again adjust to having a lower amount than what you were previously used to from the previous year in ComServe. But you definitely can. So the only way, or one of the ways that you can make more money in this career, is you definitely either have to specialize, and then that will bring up your notch in terms of your salary, or you would have to either work overtime. So some nurses do something called moonlighting. That means having to work overtime on weekends. So that means that you get compensated even more. So there are ways where your salary can increase by obviously specializing, or just getting yourself in better, positions in terms of managerial positions as well, where they do get paid more. So it is a little bit of a go slow, but I guess if you really love the profession itself and you want to, grow in the profession, and there are many opportunities that you can, absolutely, you can make more money. Absolutely. And it can range up to even, I think as a ward, a unit manager or a matron, you can get up to 40,000 Rand per month or 45,000 Rand per month, depending which facility you are working for. And it can even get more than that. So my dream ultimately is I want to become a lecturer. I am truly passionate about sharing information, and nothing makes me more happy or releases my endorphins than having to watch people's faces light up when they either, learn something new or an epiphany comes about by someone sharing information with them. And so I am truly passionate about sharing information and wanting to teach, future nurses.
My advice to young people who are still trying to find their way about their careers is pretty simple. Do what feels right for you. And I want to place emphasis on the word feels. It has to feel right to you, not to your parents, not to your friends, not to anybody else, but it has to feel right for you. When I entered nursing, I did not know what I was getting myself into. However, once I sat down in that lecture hall, and for that whole first semester, something inside me, somewhere in my gut said, this feels right. It felt like home. It felt as if I belonged. And if you have that feeling about whichever career you want to go into, just know then you are in the right place. So keep it simple. Do what feels right for you. If you're sitting somewhere in a lecture hall, whatever it may be, and it just does not feel right, you do not feel comfortable. I'm not talking about nerves. I'm not talking about just general anxiety, of the unknown. That's just, common. However, if that intuition deep down inside, you are miserable, sitting in those lectures and you have zero interest in what is being said, then that does not feel right for you. So keep it simple. Do what feels right for you. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening to me and listening to my story and my journey. God bless and goodbye.